how are you doing? Welcome back to another episode of Science Week, and today I'm going to be sharing 12 mind-blowing facts about space that will blow your mind. So stay tuned and let's get into the video. Okay, so the first fact is that a neutron star can rotate up to 600 rotations per second. I know you guys are mind blown hearing this fact since a neutron star is super fast. And yeah, seriously, it rotates up to 600 rotations per second. Well, if you guys don't know what a neutron star is, a neutron star is a dead star or a white dwarf star that is formed after the explosion of a big red giant star, which I have briefly explained in one of my previous videos. I have the link in the description below. You can go check that out as well. And yes, a neutron star can rotate up to 600 times per second. Well, when a neutron star is just created, it rotates up to only 60 rotations per second. But gradually, the speed increases and reaches up to 600. So let's go to our second fact. So guys, the second fact is that space is completely silent. That's right, space is completely silent. There's not even a single pin drop noise up there in space. Since sound waves need a medium to travel through in space, and they can travel through Earth because there is an atmosphere in Earth which can trap the sound waves and then send them through the direct location. But in space, there is no atmosphere. So the realm between stars is always silent. On to the next fact. Now, the third fact is that there is really an uncountable number of stars in the night sky and the galaxy. What we really believe is that through the naked eye, we cannot count stars, since stars in the sky keep disappearing and then reappearing in random places. But in reality, we really don't know the exact number of stars in the galaxy. Well, an Australian university did this research and took up to an estimate that there are around 70,000 million, that's right, 70,000 million stars in the entire galaxy. Well, we have to see about that in the future. So, moving on to the fourth fact. Next one is pretty interesting. The Apollo footprints on the moon will stay there for at least 100 years. And the reason behind this is there is no air on the moon, and it takes time for the soil to actually come over those large craters shaped like footprints or the actual footprints of the astronauts from the Apollo mission. So this is why it's going to take about 100 years for the footprints to disappear. Moving on to the next fact. The next point is that 99% of the entire solar system's mass is the sun. That's right, you heard me right, it's the sun. I mean, I was pretty shocked out to hear this, because how can the sun take up 99% of the entire solar system's mass? I mean, the sun's mass is pretty huge by itself, and the other planets take up in small amounts in comparison with the asteroid belts, the Kuiper belt, and even the other exoplanets that have been orbiting around it, suppose Pluto, Ceres. This is why 99% of the solar system's mass is the sun. Moving on to the next fact. This one is pretty interesting. More amount of mass or energy from the sun hits Earth more than the planet uses up in a year. So on an average, we use up to a lot of energy in a year. And the sun hits us with 2 times that every single day. That's because, I mean, there are a lot of coronal mass ejections, CMEs, and all that stuff that's been going on lately. And some reports even say that they have found a new spot or new hole in the sun that could be a threat to Earth. So a lot of coronal mass ejections and all that stuff keep hitting the Earth. And this is why we don't really realize how much energy the sun's putting into the Earth. But on a research on a scale, they said that the sun pushes in more energy than we use in an entire year. Moving on to the next fact. Guys, the next fact is that if 2 pieces of metal join together in space, they will be stuck there forever. Well, this interesting feature is called as cold welding. That's right. This happens due to the atoms in the metal do not know that they are of different pieces. So when they get stuck by the gravity, they get joined forever. So here's the next fact. So the next fact is that one day on Venus is longer than an year on Earth. I mean, how is this possible? Well, term says that the rotation of the Earth and the revolution is more faster than the one on Venus, because Venus eventually takes really long time to revolve around the entire sun, but the Earth takes up more. As we know that 1 year on Earth is 365 and a half days, but on Venus 1 day is about more than a year on Earth. So how much would a year be? Write down in the comments below, or maybe try to find the right answer. So let's go to the next fact. We all love the Great Red Spot on Jupiter. It's such a fascinating sight. But did you know that the Great Red Spot on Jupiter is starting to decrease since the past few decades? That's right. But in reality, after research, we've got to know that the Great Red Spot on Jupiter is decreasing in width, but it's growing longer in length. Moving on to the next fact. You guys know that the position of the North Star will change over time in the night sky? That's right. It actually will. This is due to a phenomenon called precession. I've written it down over here, where the axis of the Earth suddenly changes and tilts. This is why it's going to happen. Moving on to the next fact. You know that one of Saturn's moons has two different tone coloration? That's right. Laplace, one of Saturn's 62 moons, is actually a very special lunar celestial object because the moon has two sides, color shades of different depth in it. So one side is a little less and one side is a little more darker than the other one. Moving on to the last and final fact. Last and final fact is the largest asteroid in the solar system is a mammoth-sized piece of rock called Ceres. That's right, it's the size of a mammoth, and recently it is one of the largest asteroids in the solar system. So guys, like, subscribe, share. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and this is the last episode of Science Week, and we're going to be moving on to history next week. So see you in the first episode of History Week. Bye!